Welcome to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Here's your host, Casey Bubba and Scott Bogman.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pre-Snap Podcast, brought to you by the wonderful people at LineStar Sports. Make sure you check them out on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar NFL. And download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store for everything you need in the palm of your hands to build your winning DFS lineups. I am on Twitter at BDentric. My co-host is always on Twitter at Bogman Sports. Scott Bogman, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Say it, don't spray it, bub. Jeez.
Yep.
It's
what
getting
you told
late.
What you told me before the show is coming true already.
It's getting late here for
Yes.
us. But this is this DFS show is going to be fun, man. I'm ready to rock it. Let's roll.
11 game slate with 4 teams on bye, plus Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night football. So we got 11 games to break down, and there's only like 2 totals over 50. It's going to be a wild one, Bogman, a very, very wild one. We start things off, Arizona at the San Francisco 49ers. Arizona heads in there with a banged-up Kyler Murray, but they are 1.5-point favorites, over under 45.5. How do you see this one playing out?
Look, I don't. There's not a ton to love here. I think Kyler Murray's banged up with the ankle, so I'm flat out not paying for him. He's not practicing this week, so if he gets in there, it's going to be a mini miracle. I don't think it's an actual miracle, but it's going to be real close to game time before we figure him out. So I'm just not screwing with him. Jimmy G is not bad at 57 and 72, specifically on DK. I like that price against the Cardinals secondary, which, I've not been quite about not liking. I think I'd rather go with James Conner, play the touchdown upside. Eli Mitchell is in play at 51 and 71 as well. So I like him. Hopkins a little banged up. Don't want to mess with him. Don't like any of the other Arizona wideouts, specifically AJ Green. Turn around, you dumbass. Deebo Samuel at 78 and 8,000 in play every single week, even though it's expensive. Guy's just been going ham every single time out there. Ertz is expensive now, so I don't really want to mess with him. Not going Kittle off the IR. So I think really the only plays that I like in this game are I like the price on Jimmy G, Connor for the touchdowns, Eli, and anytime you want to pay up for Deebo, I'm game.
Yeah, not a ton I want in this one either, but we're on a lot of the similar plays. Eli Mitchell, I think, is going to be very popular, especially on DK at 58. 71 on FanDuel is a little different, but still not bad because he's going to get a ton of touches. That's one thing we're going to be locked in with him on unless something crazy happens. So I think he's very much in play, especially at DK price. You mentioned Deebo, always worth the price the way they're going. The only kind of contrarian angles I would look at if you're looking for a little bit of savings, I guess, Brandon Ayuk in a tournament, maybe. He got used a lot more this past week, and hopefully that's something to come. But you're still playing with fire that he resorts back to nothing. He was only 41 on DK, 55 on FanDuel. So that could be like a cheap tournament play if you want to feel like a little risky there. And then Zach Ertz, if you're looking at tight end, if it's a rough tight end, look for you. Like last week we talked about, it was all cheap tight ends basically getting all the points. But Ertz is a big part of this offense, especially as you get closer to the red zone. 47 on DK, 55 on FanDuel. Especially FanDuel's price is very cheap for Zach Ertz. I think that brings some play as well in this game. But, as a whole, not a game I'm loving, but we have seen these teams shoot it out in the past, so you can't really count that out as well. So it could be an interesting game, but not one I'm in love with. Atlanta taking on New Orleans. Taysom Hill, Simeon, who knows, but New Orleans -6, over under 42 in this one, Bogman. I know you liked the under in this one, so you must not like a lot in this game.
There's not a lot. Yeah, look, if it's Taysom, I like that price at 5,500 against Atlanta's defense. So, but if some butts was candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Tell them that. So I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Anytime you want to pay up for Kamara, I'm game. Patterson is fine at 63 and 7,000. I think Mike Davis could be sneaky at 4,700 just because he's so cheap. He just should see the field a lot. But I think my favorite play in this game is probably going to be Traquan Smith at 4,400 bucks. We saw him score a touchdown last week. His snap percentage went up from 55% to 63%, 5 more snaps. Only guy that outsnapped him at wideout was Callaway. And I think they're going to be on the field together a bunch. Other than that, I hate this game. You can pay up for Pitts if you want. New Orleans defense maybe pay for, but I hate this game.
Yeah, it's not a pretty game. I do like the over in this game because I just don't really trust any defense, especially Atlanta's defense. So the way I see it, like Hill for his leg upside, I guess personally, I'd like Simeon in this game if you want to do like a mini stack of some sort, as we talked about in the recap show. When you look at the winning lineups, you don't have to run it back. You can do like a 2 to 3 man Saint stack, and don't even care about the Falcons if you don't want to. But if you want to be contrarian, like Simeon, we could see maybe getting a 2 to 3 touchdowns, throwing for 250. Wouldn't be shocked at all. He's 5,400 on DK, 7,000 on FanDuel. That's very, very cheap. Like, he's not a cash game play by any means, but you could get a cheap stack with him. You mentioned Traquan Smith doing something along those lines and making something happen. That could be an option. I'm not saying you have to, but it could be an interesting option. I think Cordarrelle Patterson at 63 on DK and 7,000 on FanDuel still very much in play, preferably on DK with the PPR format. He's going to get utilized all over the field. Like, that's just one of those deals. Accept it and run with it. I like the Mike Davis call, much more involved without Ridley out there. So it's like a game that you don't love, but there's a lot of pieces that can put up some fantasy points. That's for sure. So it's kind of like if you listen to the Showdown show we did, you might not like Mike White, but you can like some of the PPR receivers because they're going to get theirs. And that's where it gets interesting. So maybe you do like a 2-man stack of, Cordarrelle Patterson and Traquan Smith and just walk away and see how that goes. Something like that. It's cheap. You get a couple pieces. If they pop off, it's great. So I don't hate those kind of angles to the game. Not really looking to invest and go all in. Like Pitt's got a discount, but he's going to be the wide receiver 1 now, and you know what that brings. So that brings on the best defensive player on the field at all times. That makes things tricky. Buffalo at Jacksonville. Buffalo minus 14.5 road favorites, over under 48.5. We just stacking up the Bills and walking away, or what are we doing, Boggs?
I mean, you can, but here's the thing is that I fear wholesale changes in this game. There's a couple of these games we've mentioned with these gigantic spreads that, that's something you fear in college. You fear like, well, hey, look, Alabama is playing Georgia Southern. So if your guy doesn't get it in the first half, they're going to bring in all the backups in the second half. Rarely happens in the NFL, but this feels like one of those games, right? We could definitely see Mitch Trubisky since he wasn't traded. So wouldn't be shocked. So I'm kind of off on the Bills for the most part because of that. I mean, if you wanted to play a wide receiver here, Diggs or Sanders, Beasley has a rib thing, so I'm not really in on him. But actually, I kind of like some pieces in Jacksonville, and it's the guys that are getting the targets here. Jamal Agnew at 4,300, dude just gets targets. But my favorite play in this entire game, and look, we have told you about some good tight end options. Dan Arnold at 3,400, 5,100 on FanDuel. Yep. That's my favorite play in this game is to, we told you about Ricky Seals-Jones earlier this season. We were on Dawson Knox before he exploded. So Dan Arnold just keeps getting these targets. He seems to be Trevor's safety blanket. He's going to be my favorite play in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. He was $2,800 on DK last week. We were all over him last week. He got 7 or 8 targets, blew it up. That's not going to change. Each week he's been getting heavily targeted. It's getting more and more because, like you said, he's the safety blanket for Trevor Lawrence. So I think it's a phenomenal play, especially with them likely throwing a lot, playing from behind. Love the call on Dan Arnold. I think it's a great one. You can mix it with Agnew as well at 43. It's like I'd like to stack it with Lawrence at 54, but it's just – man, I tried that stack last week in Seattle. It was so bad. You're supposed to have short-term memory in DFS. I get it. So if you want to go with another cheap stack of Lawrence and Agnew and Arnold, you can. I get it. But part of me would rather go Josh Allen and like go with a Diggs or go back to Sanders coming off nothing or a Cole Beasley, something along those lines, and then come back with a Dan Arnold or something if you want to. That's kind of where I'd lean. But don't sleep on Cole Beasley for cheap. He's going to still get his. Emmanuel Sanders disappointed everybody last week. This was the week to get back on the bus there at low ownership. So that's kind of where I'd look in this game. Cincinnati hosting the Cleveland Browns in this one. Nice AFC North divisional matchup. Cincinnati minus 2.5, over under 46.5. Bogman, we stacking up here or no?
I think you can stack up Cincinnati here if you want. And I know they're coming off the loss to the Jets and everything, but that's on the defense. That has nothing to do with the offense. The offense was good for them. Joe Burrow did take a couple shots in that game, but he's going to be fine. Joe Mixon at 71 and 74, expensive, but you can pay for him anytime. Chase and Debo are kind of the same guy to me. Like if you want to take them at their price, do it. 76 and 79 for him. I think my favorite one is probably Higgins at 53 and 66. Probably my favorite buy in this game, along with the Cincinnati defense against Cleveland because Cleveland is just beat to a tar right now. 29 and 3,800 for Cincy. I like that. And they're going to want to prove something coming off that bad beatdown by Magic Mike last week. So, if you want to go with Uzama, that's fine. I will have 0 shares of Cleveland Browns. I'll say that.
Yeah, I like the idea of going Joe Mixon with the Cleveland defense. The Cincinnati defense. I think that's a really, really good one to go with, the old running back defense stack. That could be an angle there. Or, like you said, I think Burrow to Mixon to either Higgins or Chase could be a nice little stack as well. If you want to stay cheap, you go to Higgins. If you want the ceiling play, you go to Chase. We're seeing a lot more of those quarterback, running back, wide receivers that are quarterback to receiver sets that are being successful. So I think that's definitely an angle to go to because I think Mixon's going to get his in the running game and in the passing game. So don't sleep on him if you are stacking up Cincinnati. I think he's a very strong play this week. That's why Mixon and the defense or Mixon with Burrow and one of the 2 big receivers, I think it's very, very live in this game. The only Brown I would look at, and I pretty much with Bogman is I don't want one, is Jarvis Landry at $5,100 on DK 59 on FanDuel.
Are you going to tell him to catch the ball this week?
Well, in games without OBJ, since OBJ has been a Brown, I think the lowest target share Landry's has like 23%. Like he's mainly like a high 20s, low 30 plus.
We should have had 50% last week if he catch the damn football.
True. Well, it's a new week, as they say.
It's
a new week. So we'll see how this one goes. That'd be the only guy I'd look at. He's very, very affordable. Denver heads into Dallas for a early Sunday morning beatdown. Dallas -10. One of the higher totals, though, Bogman, over under 49.5. Let's get our Dallas on, huh?
Yeah, I think you could stack both sides of this game if you want, because it's not like Dallas's secondary is fantastic. So, and they might be down Trayvon Diggs. We'll see. I think he's going to play, but we'll see. So Dak at 69 and 79. We've got Teddy at 53 and 71 are good buys. Anytime you want to play Zeke, I'm into it. Javonte or Melvin Gordon, I would take the cheaper option here, which is Javonte at 48 and 58. Lamb, Cooper went ham last week, and his price didn't come up an insane amount, 57 to 69. That's a good price.
Way too cheap.
He's probably my favorite buy here. Cortland Sutton at 59 is another good buy. I don't care who's on him. Brown, Diggs, don't matter to me. Give me Sutton. I think that was a big mistake that Denver made last week, trying to force feed Judy coming off the IR. Get the ball to Cortland Sutton, and he should be able to torch Diggs deep too. Didn't score on my touchdown last week, so I'm a little bitter, but we'll see. Judy is a good price too at 5,058. Aqua Boonham with no Noah Fant is a good one at 2,600 and 4,500 as well. And I think that's Schultz at 48 if you wanted to pay, but I'd rather go with a cheap tight end.
Yeah, I like the Dak to Cooper to potentially Lamb stack for sure. I think that's a very, very strong, but just Dak and Cooper for sure. I like that a lot. Cooper's too cheap. He's basically a cash game play at 57 on DK 69 on FanDuel. The Denver side was weird when Judy came back. It was almost like an even target share between Judy, Patrick, and Sutton. We expected, maybe Patrick to take a back seat potentially or something to happen. They basically distributed it pretty similarly. Like it didn't change a ton. So that kind of leaves it up for grabs in tournaments this week. There's really no one go-to guy. We think it's still going to be Sutton, like you mentioned, but there's options there. The last thing I'll mention, though, is we talked about Dan Arnold being the guy. If you just want to punt, though, Alberto. Play Alberto. Yeah. At 2,600 on DK, 45 on FanDuel.
You can say Aqua Boonham.
Aqua Boonham. It's like Aqua Velva.
That's
Aqua
right.
Boona. I think he's a phenomenal punt this week. I think he might be popular. I think in cash, you just play him and say, screw it. That's what I'm rolling with. He's going to get his, especially in the red zone.
He's a receiving tight end, for sure.
He is a phenomenal play in this game without no offense. So, like, even if you want to go like Dak, Cooper, and Aqua Boonham, that's a very affordable stack that lets you do things elsewhere. But bottom line, Aqua Boonham, cash game, tournaments, he's your punt tight end of the week. Green Bay at Kansas City. Boo. We have Kansas City's now -7.5 thanks to Uncle COVID showing up in the Green Bay locker room. Over under 48, Bogman. Like, we keep saying the Chiefs should wake up one day, but I just don't know anymore.
Yeah, look, I'm good. I didn't even have Jordan Love on here when I made this sheet, so don't know what his price is, but I know it's going to be cheap, and I like him this week against this Chiefs horrific secondary so far. They started Gary and I talked about this on our IDP podcast earlier this week because I looked and I'm like, I thought Juan Thornhill was getting the run, but he played like 60 and Sorensen played 40. It was somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe a little more, a little less. But Gary was like, well, Juan Thornhill cannot tackle and Sorensen can't cover. So they have a real problem in that spot. So, anyone can pass on the Chiefs. I think their corners aren't fantastic either. Don't want to mess with the running backs because you want Williams, do you want Gore? I don't know. Screw it. I'm not messing with it. Aaron Jones in play. I know you like AJ Dillon. 46 and 52 is a great price for him this week. I'm in on Mecole Hardman at 39 and 54. I think that's an amazing price for him. Anytime you want to play Tyreek, I'm okay with it. Don't really want to mess with too much. Adams is too expensive without Rodgers. Cobb and MVS, I'm not trusting. Kelsey's been bad the last couple weeks, not playing him. So really, my plays are going to be Jones, Dillon, either quarterback, Mahomes, or Love and Hardman and Tyreek. So
there's actually a lot of value in this game. I haven't pulled up FanDuel, but on DraftKings, Jordan Love's only $4,400 if you're feeling frisky. Not saying it's a must, but that's basically free.
Dude can run a little too.
He can run a little, and they're gonna they're gonna try not to pass a lot, but he's gonna know the offense. So again, similar to like I said about Simeon or something, if he can get you 2 to 3 scores and 250, like that's amazing at that price point. So in a tournament, I can see the appeal. Derek Gore's only $4,000. Just gonna say, if he gets 10 plus touches again, that's a great price tag. That's a phenomenal price tag. So it's just one of those deals. I love AJ Dillon. Talked about him on the showdown last week. He got a bunch of carries again. This is a game they're going to want to slow down. They're going to want to run the ball as much as possible. I'm seeing 15 plus touches again from Dillon. 4,600 on DK, 52 on FanDuel. Love the price tag. If he finds his way into the end zone, big play. So I like that a lot. I agree. Hardman's too cheap, especially 39 on DK. That's a good tournament play. I believe it's a Travis Kelce bounce back week because he's not. They're going to see all the bulletin board stuff after last week. Problem is they've been garbage no matter what they see, and we just talked about Arnold and Aquabuna, so I'm not paying for Travis Kelce, but I get it because he's going to be much lower owned this week. If you want to get weird, I understand. I really do because I think it's a get right spot. We saw Ertz had some success versus this Green Bay secondary. I could see Kelce getting some too, so we'll see how that one plays out. Houston heads into Miami, where Miami is minus 6.5 point home favorites, over under 46. I like to stack up Tua and company this week.
Yeah, look, Tua 58 and 73, good price here. Parker at 53 and 62, Waddle at 56 and 61. I wish Will Fuller was back, but he's not yet. Brandon Cooks at 61 and 68 is a decent price. Gesicki at 49 and 65 is in play. Dolphins defense at 31 and 43 is in play as well. That is all of the players that you can play in this game. I just can't stomach Gaskin. I can't stomach anything else on the Texans that's not Brandon Cooks. So to me, those are really your only options.
Yeah, I like a Tua to Parker and Waddle stack. I'm on board with that. If you want to use some Cooks, fine. If you just want to use the Dolphins defense, fine. The other play I'll mention, if you're playing in like a lot of lineups, or you're just want to get really different in a tournament, the way we saw this offense work without Mark Ingram could change from week to week. But if they're playing from behind like they will be, Rex Burkhead's in play. Just gonna throw it out there. $4,300 on DK, $5,000 on FanDuel. He will be used in the passing. We had 4 carries last week. We had 4 targets, 3 catches. He found the end zone, which helped. But even without the end zone, he got you nearly 8 DK points. He was only 4,000 last week. He's 43 this week. He's going to get probably close to 10 plus touches. And if he falls into the end zone, that's a phenomenal play. So if you want to be different in a tournament, there's a lot of weird value this week. There's a lot of weird value in these games. So you don't have to play these guys, but keep these guys on your radar as potential, playing from behind. Burkhead's going to get a lot of that peppered roll like we saw in New England. We're going to see it here in Houston. So get ready for that as well.
Do you want poison or the bullet? That's what I say when you're asking me if I have to play Rex Burkhead.
Hey, we'll see. We'll have some fun with it. Chargers at Philly. Talk about poison and bullets. Keep them away from the Philadelphia fans. Chargers minus 1.5 after that brutal game. Over under of 50. Bogman. What are you liking in this game?
Well, I like the Chargers a lot to put up some points here and to prove that they're better than what they showed last week. So Herbert, Eckler, Allen, Williams, all those guys are in play for me. But I think my favorite play of this game is going to be Boston Scott at 52 and 6,300. Chargers have the worst run defense in the NFL right now, giving up over 160 yards a game. So I really like Boston Scott as the lead back for Philly in this one. If you wanted to, throw out a Jordan Howard or a Kenny Gainwell, be my guest, but I just think Scott is their guy. So don't want any wide receivers, don't want Jalen Hurts, don't want anything else to do with Philly. Maybe Dallas Goedert. Yeah. Probably not, though. I like our cheap options here of Aquabunum and a couple others. So for me, it's just really Boston Scott and a Charger stack if you want.
Yeah, like the only Eagles would be Hurts and Goddard, but it's not pretty. So in reality, I like, you mentioned Herbert to Allen to maybe a Williams bounce back. I could see that being interesting. Or you just play some Austin Eckler with the Chargers defense because the Eagles, I think, are that bad. It's a game. It's a total of 50. So in theory, like all the quote unquote ways to play DFS, they say target the high totals. This feels like a screwy high total. Let's put it that way. I think we both took the under in this game.
Yeah, we did.
So it just doesn't make me all warm and fuzzy. I'd rather stack the Dolphins. Let's put it that way. That's not a homer in me. So not a pretty one to say the least. I'd rather stack this next game. Las Vegas at the New York Giants. Vegas rolls into town as 3-point road favorites in this game. Over under 46.5. I don't mind stacking either side in this one, Bogman.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like Raiders more than I like the Giants. Carr at 59 is a good price. 7,500 on FanDuel, I think, is a decent price. I want to tell you what wide receiver to play in New York, but who the hell knows who's actually going to show up and be on the field, right? One thing we know for sure is that Henry Ruggs won't be on the field. And look, I don't know how much him not being there adds to the other guys. I think it more takes away from the defense as a whole, but because it's not like they're going to split his 4 targets a game up between 6 different guys. So, but I do like Bryan Edwards in this game. Decent price too of 41 and 53. I think Renfro draws Bradbury, who will give up some catches. So Renfro is a good price here at 48 and 56 as well. I'm just not paying for Waller with what he's producing right now. I don't think Saquon's going to play. No, Saquon isn't going to play because they stuck him on the COVID list. Yep. Maybe Booker at 59 and 63. Josh Jacobs is a maybe at 62 and 72. But my favorite play here is probably Renfro and Edwards.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like if you want to go with some Carr with Renfro and Edwards, cool with that. Danny Dimes, he can almost play him naked because he runs a lot. I could see that being interesting. If game day Sterling Shepard's healthy, I like him, but you just know he's one play away from going down again.
Right.
Darius Slayton can't catch anything, but he'd be the next man up. I think honestly,
Landry.
Dante Pettis got hurt. Like, it's a mess. But we did see all of a sudden Evan Ingram show up. We like those cheaper tight ends, but maybe it's I hate saying it's a 2 tight end week, but maybe it's a 2 tight end week. That could be in play as well. So this one is a game that watch the injury report on Sunday and maybe get some practice reports on Friday to see who's kind of taking over the roles in in Vegas as well. But this is a game I do like some scoring. So it's definitely one to keep in mind come Sunday that you can get some different plays at and make some things happen. Minnesota heads into Baltimore as -6. Baltimore's -6-point home favorites in this one. Over under 49.5. This is one of my favorite games to stack this week.
Absolutely. You can stack either side of this one too. My favorite play maybe of the week is Marquise Brown at 6,000 and 7,700. They got some slow ass players in the secondary in Minnesota. Brown should torch them. Remember that Detroit game where he torched everybody and dropped 3 balls? Yep. I think this is the same type of deal, except for hopefully he doesn't drop them this week. I can't guarantee that because I watched Marquise Brown play for too long to sit here and guarantee that. It would be dumb of me. So, but I do like him in this game. Lamar Jackson, anytime you want to play him, I'm good. Kirk Cousins, I think it's a good Kirk Cousins, but I can't promise you that. Cook is expensive, but always in play. Look, Latavius Murray didn't practice today as we're recording this late on a Wednesday night. So if Freeman goes at 49 and 55, I think he could be a good price. I love the price of Thielen here. Bateman is cheap. Watkins is cheap. Anytime you want to play Andrews, into it. Conklin at 3,000 is a nice cheap option. Lots to love in this game, Bob.
Yep. Lots to love. I love my favorite stack is Lamar to Hollywood to Bateman, and it's affordable. So I like that one a lot. I don't mind Cousins. I'm a big Cousins fan when it comes to this. I like the Freeman call if Murray misses for sure. But if I have to pick one of the two, I'm probably still going with Jefferson over Thielen. But either way, just fine. As in the end, they're scoring pretty similarly. So that's one to monitor as well. Like the tight end calls, like you mentioned, Coughlin at only 3K is not bad. But if you don't want to bring it back with any Minnesota guys, Lamar to Hollywood to Bateman, big fan of that stack. Like I'm going to have that one for sure this week and see what I can build around for that one. The final game on this 11-game slate, New England heads into Carolina as minus 3.5-point road favorites in this one, over under of a whopping 41, Scott Bogman. That screams at DFS fun.
Damian Harris and punch out. That's all I like here. DJ Moore maybe at 64 and 71, but I think there's other guys in his price range that I would rather have. Patriots defense 41 and 48 against Carolina could be
damn.
Yeah, but it's PJ Walker.
Yeah,
so
no, I get it.
But yeah, this is gonna be an ugly one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back. I keep running with Damian Harris, 6K on DK, 66 on FanDuel. Solid floor. He's maybe more cash game than tournament play, but he's got the tournament upside in a game like this where he could get 20 plus carries and just burst. So could be like that game we saw was the Houston game where he had a couple touchdowns early and then they ended up giving the ball to Taylor because they were just blowing the doors off the place. It could be one of those potentially. But yeah, I think Harris is it. Otherwise, I'm with you. Not a whole lot for me either.
Yeah.
All right. That wraps up the 11-game DFS preview for the week. Bogman, real quick, what were some of your favorite stacks for the week?
Stacks, look, either side of Baltimore and Minnesota, I think is a solid one. A stack of the Chargers, it's expensive, but it can work. You mentioned the mini Miami stack is decent. Either side of Dallas or Denver, I think is stackable. Cincy, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, I love the Miami stack, love the Dallas stack, love the Baltimore stack. It's probably like closer to my top 3 on this slate. I think New Orleans is very interesting if Trevor Siemian plays. I might be just brain dead on that, but that's interesting. I like Cincinnati as well. So those will be my main ones for now. We'll kind of have to watch a lot of the news. There's going to be a lot more news breaking this week. That makes things very, very complicated as we continue to try to navigate the minefield that is the NFL Week 9 schedule. But before we sign out, make sure you give the podcast a rate and review on iTunes or check us out on the LineStar YouTube channel. Give the old subscribe and thumbs up over there. And most importantly, follow LineStar on Twitter at LineStar App and at LineStar NFL because each and every week they tweet out the touchdown calls of the week from Bogman Sports, myself, and Ryan Humphreys. If our guy finds the end zone and you retweet it and you got chosen with one of us because 3 lucky people get paired with each one of us, you'll win some free swag. So Bogman, Week 9, who's your touchdown call of the week?
I'm going to go with some nepotism here and take my cousin Boston Scott of the Philadelphia Eagles against that worst run defense in the NFL. Give me Boston Scott to score a touchdown.
I like it. I can dig it. It's fair. I'll give you that. What I'm going to go with, though, you got Boston Scott. I'm going to go to my favorite stack of the week. Give me Hollywood Brown. I almost took him, but I said I can't take a Sooner Raven. I can't do it. That was a double whammy for you. That's like a double negative when you type. Yes, but I'm going to go with Hollywood Browns. I really do think he has a monster. Him and Bateman, I think it's going to be very fun. Really, really fun. So that's going to be a good game there. You got Boston Scott, so don't mind that. I will see who Ryan Humphreys has. But, folks, buckle up. Download the app. They'll keep you updated on all the breaking news, all the latest news, all the way the projections change to help you build your winning lineups come Sunday morning. Plus, if you play college football, they got you covered there. They got NBA, got every sport, all the fun stuff and things. So check it out over there. And more importantly, have a great weekend and check out Bogman on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I'm at BD Hendrick, and good luck, everybody.
See you. Good luck.
Thanks for listening to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Please like, comment, subscribe, and rate for good karma in your fantasy football game.